Hello everyone, this is Vivian, and today I would like to discuss something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is the subject of humor, laughter, and fun, and why all of the above things are very important in our lives. Okay, so I'm gonna begin with a little story from my life. When I was 22 years old and I was doing the acting conservatory program that I had talked about in, I believe, a couple of my previous videos, I had briefly touched on it. I had a lot of different classes there, for everything you can possibly imagine relating to acting and performance. So I had this one class that was like a text analysis sort of class. I believe this was the one that I'm thinking of. And we would read plays in class, and analyze them. Not just plays, I mean scripts also from like TV shows, films, but mostly plays, I would say. And this one time, we were reading this play. I don't remember the play. I believe it was by Clifford Odets. It was Not Waiting for Lefty. It was one of his other plays, and it took place in the 1930s and 1930s New York. And although it was not a comedy, there was this one part there that I just found to be freaking hilarious. So we were actually reading the play out loud in class, like each person was assigned a part and we would read it. Each person would read their role as we went along. And so there was just this one part there, that it wasn't just one part, it was like a few interactions between the character that I was reading for and a couple of the other characters. Like, I guess this character was sort of a funny character and the interactions were funny. Also, some of the words that were used were like these funny slang terms from the 1930s. And yeah, so I could not contain myself. I could not contain my laughter. I would try to keep a straight face and just be serious, really. Oh, I'm serious. I'm a serious actress. I'm doing this, but it was just too funny for me. I couldn't hold my laughter in, and I would just crack up. And after doing this for a few times, the teacher that I had for this particular class, he got so mad at me. So mad at me. He actually started yelling at me. He was like, of course, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of, Vivian, I can't believe you're laughing at this. Why can't you just take this seriously? This is very serious. We're very serious in this class. And like, if you want to be a professional actress, you can't just burst out laughing like this. Now, mind you, this was not a performance, right? This was not a performance of this play. This was just, we were reading it in class, first time reading it, and then we were going to analyze it, which is what we did. And I was like, oh my God. And so I really hate it when people yell at me. I always have. It's always made me feel really bad, like just extremely uncomfortable, and just like I've done something terribly wrong and that there's something wrong with me, right? And that's how I felt in this moment. And so after the few times of laughing and then him yelling at me for laughing, I got really sad and was almost like on the point of tears. I was yelled at by him in front of the whole class of my acting conservatory colleagues. And Yeah, I wanted to like disappear. I wanted to leave the room. I was like, oh my God, like really, why? To myself, I was like, damn it, like I need to really be more serious. Like I shouldn't laugh. And yeah, so at the time in the moment, it wasn't a good experience. But then afterwards, when I looked back on it, I was just like, it's okay to laugh. It was okay for me to laugh in that moment. Again, it might not have been appropriate if it had been during the actual performance of this play, right? Which we didn't perform this one. This was, again, just used for analysis and also for historical purposes, for seeing how theater was in the 1930s. So, yeah, just like there's nothing wrong with laughing if you think something's funny. Now, someone else might not be happy with you laughing. Someone else might think that what you're laughing at is, it's very serious. It's like, why are you laughing? And they might not have any sense of humor possibly. And yeah, it just works that way sometimes. They might think that your laughter is inappropriate, and I have been guilty of laughing at inappropriate times, but sometimes I do laugh when I'm uncomfortable. So there's that. In this case that I talked about, the story that I just told you, that was because I thought it was funny. So, because it was. Um, yeah, but we should all be laughing more, honestly. I know that it seems like the world has gone to hell and we're living in possibly unprecedented times with we're now seeing such things and experiencing such things as we possibly have never experienced before in humanity. Well, we haven't, certainly with all the technology and technocracy type of things. But yeah, there are still moments where we should be able to laugh. And I suggest laughing every day. And I don't mean the fake kind of laughter, like someone makes a bad joke and you're like, huh, like that's not a real laugh. I'm talking about a real, like sincere belly laugh, like a hearty laugh where like, it's so funny. You might get tears in your eyes because it's so funny, right? Yeah, and I personally believe there's always something to laugh about. I've laughed at myself. I still laugh at myself, like, regardless of what anyone else thinks. I do think I'm funny. Not that I tell good jokes or that I'm funny like that, but it's just like my idiosyncrasies and quirks that I have. Like personally, I think it's kind of funny. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not like a comedian, but so it doesn't matter if anyone else thinks that I'm funny or thinks that you're funny. As long as you find yourself funny and you can laugh at yourself and maybe even laugh at your own jokes, that's cool too. So yeah, and the funny thing is that a lot of people actually really did think that I was very funny, like in a comedic way, in terms of performance and also just like real life back when I was doing the conservatory and like back a few years ago. But then after I lost some weight, and am the weight that I am now and have been for a couple of years now, I have found that nobody finds me funny anymore, even though I'm the same person. Also, my style is the same. Everything's the same, minus like 30 pounds. So that's interesting too, right? It's like, oh wow, like a thinner woman can't be funny, but that's a thing for another day. So like I said, I still think I'm funny in my own way, and not to be funny for anyone else, just like, it's important to be able to like enjoy your own company, So that brings me to humor. Having a sense of humor is just so important, so integral to life, in my opinion and in my experience. So let me tell you another story, and this one is kind of darker. So I did touch on this in a couple of my other videos when I talked about this conservatory program. I said that at the end of it, there was a showcase where everyone who was in it, an actor in the conservatory, we performed to a large audience of industry people, TV, film, theater, entertainment industry people, like agents, managers, casting directors, and with the goal being that we were to get representation from that. We were to have an agent or a manager contact us and take us on as a client and all of that kind of thing. So again, I did not have anyone contact me, and I was super depressed over this after having worked hard on the showcase that we did. Like, I worked really, really hard, as did the other people, and most other people, most of my colleagues did have someone contact them, and they did sign with a talent agent or manager. A few didn't. I was one of the few who didn't, and I was just super depressed. That really led me into an actually very deep depression, because I thought that I was no good, right? I thought that I sucked at acting, that I wasn't attractive enough, all that sort of thing, right? It was like, what's wrong with me? That, just having very bad thoughts about myself, my abilities, everything. Yeah, so this started a period of about a couple of years, of probably even more than a couple of years. I would say roughly 2 years, possibly a bit more than 2 years, of me being really depressed for a lot of that time. And so I would just sit there in my apartment in New York City. I would sit there alone in my dark apartment. My apartment, by the way, was like a dungeon almost. It wasn't really that bad. The apartment itself was not bad. It was a studio apartment in Manhattan. So it was just like one room, but the layout was quite good. The issue was that it just was really dark, because there were these two windows on this one side, and that was it, just those two windows. And the light, the natural light, was blocked out by this row of brownstones. Excuse me. So there really was not any sunlight. And on top of that, I wasn't really going outside to get sunlight, to get vitamin D. And that also contributed to me feeling very depressed, on top of all the other things. So I would mope around in my apartment when I wasn't working. I would like not really ever go out socially. I mean, here and there. I was dating a guy at that time. Oh, not at that time. I mean, this was probably the fall after the conservatory program had ended, which the conservatory ended in June. So this was that fall, 2015. I had started dating this guy, dated him briefly. It was like very bad for me, because he was very controlling and also projecting his insecurities onto me, accusing me of cheating on him, and also going through my phone to see if I was talking to any other guys or anything. I mean, just really bad behavior that was quite alarming to me. It didn't start off that way, but I mean, I dated him for probably like a couple of months, and then after he kept doing this sort of stuff, I was like, you know, I can't do this. But I was in a very bad place, even besides that, and yeah, very lonely. I didn't feel like I had any true friends, and that was probably true actually, which again, don't feel bad for me. I don't want you to feel bad for me. Like, it is what it is. And I would rather not have any friends than have a bunch of fake friends. So, okay, just putting it out there. You know, I didn't realize at the time that I had myself, that I was my own best friend, and that I had everything I needed within myself in terms of doing what needed to be done. And, you know, even though I would be there super depressed in my apartment, just like, you know, I tend to really dramatize and romanticize everything. Just how I am. I mean, maybe you can tell. Like, I just do that naturally. I've always done that because, I don't know, I have like a very vivid imagination. So I think that contributes to that. On top of me being involved in like actual theater and performance. So yeah, I would try to think of the best ways to kill myself, really, to commit suicide. I would think of like what would be the most like most macabre and like just like something in a gothic romance, like out of an Edgar Allan Poe story or something, right? Like I was thinking what would be the best way to do this, and it's like, oh, you know, when they find my dead body, like they're gonna react like this, and it's gonna be so tragic, but in like a beautiful way. I mean, this was literally what I was thinking at the time. I was thinking of like, what should I do? What would be the best way to do this? I really didn't want to go the pills route because I was, you know, I was still very like health conscious as I had been since I was a teenager, actually. And so I was against pharmaceuticals for the most part. Also was not ever into drugs or anything like that, so that was out of the question. So I was thinking of ways like, oh my god, okay, some people might be triggered by this, but I'm being serious about this. Like, I was thinking, okay, should I like hang myself? Like, how do I do that? You know, I didn't have a firearm or anything like that I could use, so that wasn't gonna work. You know, I was like, do I like, you know, slit my wrist in the bathtub or something? Like, I mean, these were literally things that I was thinking because I was really depressed and alone. And yeah, so I ended up never even attempting any of these things. I would just like ruminate on these things way more than I should have. Yeah, just it was bad. But yeah, I just I don't know. I was also mad at myself for not ever attempting to do it, to actually do it, or to go through it. And I was like, ah, damn it, I don't have the well, shall we say, ovaries to do this, to like go through with this. Like, I'm such a coward. Oh my god. Yeah, like I was thinking, so I would get even more mad at myself. And then I had read somewhere that depression is not really about a chemical imbalance in the brain, but it's what it really is on a deeper level is it's anger turned inwards towards yourself. So then that made me realize that, yeah, like I was angry at myself for a lot of things. Some of which I couldn't even think of exactly what they were, but some of the things I knew. And, what really kept me from going through with those dark things and really from killing myself actually was my sense of humor. Because even throughout this dark period in my life, I still looked on the bright side a bit, not as much as I do now, but I still had that in me. And like I just naturally had that, I guess. So like my sense of humor would come in to be like my mind, like me to myself. I'd be like, oh, Vivian, aren't you being ridiculous right now? Aren't you being dramatic? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, yeah, you're right. This was like me to me, like my internal conversations. I wouldn't actually talk to myself out loud, just for the record. It was an internal process. Although, you know what? It's not necessarily a bad thing to talk to yourself if you do. I mean, hey, who's to say? Who's to judge that? So, yeah, my sense of humor helped me to find what was amusing and funny and the comic elements of my situation and how I guess just ridiculous I was being. I was being very over the top, very dramatic. I mean, I still am over the top, just in other ways, like it's just like in a more positive way, I think. Um, so yeah, like, and see, I'm laughing at myself now. Believe me, at the time, it wasn't this funny though. But then I was like, I don't, just, it was so interesting because my humor really is what saved me. And the reason why I believe I have developed a strong sense of humor is because I just absolutely had to, from when I was very little and growing up, being an only child, being around a lot of like adults and older people mostly. And, I'd be around kids my age too, but I'd often have conflicts with them. I'd get into fights with kids a lot, believe it or not. I was kind of a problem child. Like when I went to preschool, I know for sure I would always get into fights with a lot of the other kids. Like not like physical fights, but like, just how little kids do, right? And yeah, I just, as I said in one of my earlier videos, the one, why I love being weird and never want to be normal, I talked about how I have been always seen as like just this strange girl, for pretty much most of my life. And just like people always thought I was different for whatever reason, even when I did not want to think of myself as that. Right now, I proudly am like a weirdo. I'm a proud weirdo, okay? So yeah, but back then, as a kid, it's a little different. But I did have to develop a sense of humor in order to be able to live life. Or else I would probably have, actually killed myself a long time ago. I would have gotten into depression much earlier, and like it would have just been much worse. Like it probably still would have continued up until now, or I probably wouldn't even be here right now on this planet in this incarnation, in this body, like if I didn't have my sense of humor. So Yes, and I can't, this is gonna be mean. This might sound mean, but I cannot really talk to people or like even like be friends with people who have no sense of humor. It's very difficult to interact with them. It's like life sucking for me. It's like I try to make light of something and they're like their face is just like blank and just like what? They're like what? You know? And I'm like, okay, so yeah. Um but anyway, it's super important that we all develop our sense of humor if we haven't already. And people have a different sense of humor. Each person has a different one. So yours might not be the same as mine. That's fine. Like it's cool for people to have their own things going on. But as long as you can see what is amusing and comic in situations in your own life, with yourself, perhaps even in the world. Again, I know it might be hard with particularly with what's going on in the world right now. It is can be quite challenging. But I know that my sense of humor has helped me get through it too, because a lot of the things that are happening now are ridiculous, like so ridiculous that it's like, I mean, how can you not like, I mean, honestly, sometimes I don't know whether to laugh or cry, but even though I have had quite a few existential breakdowns throughout the past year, um I do choose to laugh a lot of the time. It's like, oh, Dr. F said this now. Oh, wow, he was just saying that other thing now. And it's like, oh, now we have to wear two of them. Okay, like, why not just the whole box of them, right? To put on our faces so like we really can't breathe. Um, yeah, I know my viewers know what I'm talking about there. So yeah, like it's just, I mean, it's like people have lost their minds and the lunatics are running the asylum. So I used to think I was crazy. Like I kind of did when I was younger. I used to think I was crazy, and now I'm like, wait, I'm not crazy. What if these other people have literally lost their minds? Not to put them down or anything, but it's like, what if they have just been so programmed and brainwashed to do and believe what they're doing and believing, right? Yeah, but that also brings me to my next point of having fun. It's super important to be able to have fun. So I've been through some serious shit in my life. So I'm not sitting up here like I've had some perfect life and like everything's perfect and amazing and oh my God, like let's just have fun all the time. And that's all we need to do. Like, no, okay? But having fun is really important. It can take you out of the darkness and into the light, shall we say, right? Um, yeah, and so for me, my idea of fun is probably a bit different from what most people consider to be fun. Like, I think it's fun to just go outside for a walk in nature. Like, that's fun for me. I just go outside alone and it's like, that's fun. And I look at all the trees and the grass and the birds and the bees and the deer and whatever other animals we have here. So, and that is fun for me and calming and soothing to me. And like, yeah, it's not fun doesn't have to be like going out, going to parties, which I very rarely did in the first place, and now I know it's much harder to do that. I would like to go to one now though, because it's been like over a year, and it's like, I'm gonna hit up the next party I'm invited. If someone invites me to a party, I'm going, okay? And like, I might be standing there awkwardly in the corner, but I don't care. I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna hug everyone, even people that I don't know, without a mask, without a face shield, without sanitizer. So yeah, live dangerously, people. I'm just kidding. It's not dangerous to have normal human interaction. But guess some people think it is now. So yes, having fun. Another thing that I like to do, like I just like to you know, have little dance parties for myself where I like, a lot of times it's like 80s music. I have like an 80s music playlist from YouTube, like a mix that's created by YouTube, like one of those automatic playlists. And because I think 80s music is fun. It's not always just 80s music, but 80s, it's 70s music too. I like 70s music, and then some other music thrown in here and there. And I just like dance at home by myself just for fun, because it's fun, okay? Like, you can judge all you want, don't care. Maybe that might not be fun for you, but maybe it might. So maybe that might give you an idea for something fun to do. If you're just home by yourself, or even if you're with someone, you can be with someone and you can have a dance party together. Because that's more fun than just sitting there and, you know, binging Netflix or whatever, right? Which I actually haven't done in a while. But you know, you have to really be able to enjoy yourself, because when you enjoy yourself, that means that you are enjoying life, and you should enjoy life. Again, it doesn't mean that you have to be thrilled about every second of every day. You're like, yeah, every second is the best second of my life. I mean, like, I understand it doesn't work like that. It's not going to, that's not realistic. But also for fun, I just like to read, right? And a lot of people might be like, what? How is reading fun? I know a lot of people don't read these days, but I like to read. So right now I'm reading this book called Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. Her full name is Lucy Maud Montgomery. And this is actually a classic children's book from 1908. And I say children's because it's, sure, it can be for children, but it's really for all ages. And it's really well written. It's about this young orphan girl in the late Victorian era who lives on Prince Edward Island in Canada. And yeah, so she's a young orphan girl who goes to live with these two siblings who are like these middle-aged siblings, a brother and a sister. She's a spinster, he's a bachelor. I mean, that's the terms they use here, because again, the time period that it was written and takes place in. So she's just this super imaginative, just free-spirited, talkative young girl who has a wonderful zest for life, and she loves to enjoy life, and she sees the beauty all around her in life. And okay, so I didn't mean to get emotional right now. Okay, I don't know where that came from. But yeah, I have no idea where that came from. But okay, so I guess the reason why I got emotional is because there could be a variety of reasons, but the one that I can think of being that so this character, her name is Anne Shirley, by the way, she reminds me a lot of how I was when I was younger, when I was young, when I was a little girl. Um, and then, so it's just sad to me how society, as we grow up, and even now when we're children, how like this is bred out of us, this enjoyment for life. And yeah, like this is okay. God damn it, why'd I have to get emotional? Okay, anyway. See, now I'm mad at myself for getting emotional because I wasn't supposed to. But it was, you know, it was authentic and real, so I'm not going to edit that out. I'm gonna leave that in. And so yeah, it's just so unfortunate how society sucks the life out of us, basically. And also the imagination too. And like we can't be as free-spirited as we were when we were children. Like, I mean, that's the idea, that we can't be once we grow up. And even as children, a lot of times that's seen as being inappropriate. Like a lot of times, you know, in the novel, this character, Anne, this young girl, she gets into trouble because of her personality and her, you know, she just like really does things sort of impulsively sometimes, which is funny, and it leads to some sticky situations, but she always manages to find a way out of it. So yeah, I think that I definitely recommend this novel. So, you know, even if you're an adult, I believe you could still enjoy this, because I do. And also the language, like, it's very well written because it was written in 1908, and so just like the language that's used is, I believe, quite advanced for the young children of our current time, because, you know, our education system has gone way downhill, intentionally so, of course. But yeah, I definitely recommend it, because like it's not a sad book. It's actually very heartwarming and uplifting. But I definitely have at certain points gotten emotional while reading it, because like yeah, because of just how actually inspiring this character of this young girl is. Like, I think we can learn a lot from her, even though she is a fictional character. So yeah, and there was actually a quote. There's a quote that I wanted to read, if I can find it. I wrote it down somewhere in my notebook. It was a quote from, okay, so it was a quote that I wrote down from a recent chapter in the book that I read the other day. So yeah, I love this quote. It says, this is Anne talking, and she says to her what do you call it, caretaker, I guess, the woman who took her in, who she lives with now, who her guardian, who takes care of her, who, by the way, is very this older woman who is her guardian now is very austere, and you know, just thinks that Anna's a bit troublesome, but she still loves her. so she says, but really, Marilla is the guardian's name. But really, Marilla, one can't stay sad very long in such an interesting world, can one? So I really love that because it's so true, right? I mean, I get sad and depressed a lot still. I don't have actual depression anymore how I used to. I've thankfully gotten out of that hole. But yeah, just I get sad every day. Like I hear some like new thing going on and like some new nightmare thing that's being rolled out. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is, you know, it is a nightmare in many ways, but there are also so many good things all around us, which is one of the reasons why I like to go for a walk outside. Yeah, like there's so much good here still, even though it might be harder to see now, but we should all actively look for the good and for the beauty and try to not be so down all the time, because I understand that for myself, for probably most, if not all of the other people who are here on this channel, the few subscribers that I have, as well as, you know, people who might be coming across this video, we know that the agenda that's being rolled out has been rolled out for the past year. It's only gonna keep escalating, and like, you know, just humanity is not in the best place right now, obviously, but like we can still find all the good things. We can still have fun. We can still laugh, like genuinely laugh, right? And yeah, our sense of humor is very important. So I am just going to, oh, I got my tea bag in my tea, but I have some ginger and chamomile tea today. Okay, so, oh, here, yes, this is a great quote that I'm going to start off with. It's very hard to separate with my gloves on, but just a moment. Okay, so this one says, this quote is, "Without the storms and rain, life would cease to be." And I agree, that's the thing. That's the thing about fun and humor. That's why humor and fun exist, because like you have to always have a contrast, right? In order for things to make sense, there has to be a contrast. Like we do need the so-called storms and rain and the, you know, the struggles that we go through in life. We need that in order to also be able to look at the bright side. If everything was just wonderful, unicorns and rainbows and magic fairies and pixie dust everywhere and like just amazing all the time, then we probably wouldn't be able to appreciate it, right? So yes, also I also want to say about laughter. I try to choose laughter over tears, and I want to say that laughter dissolves fear. True laughter dissolves fear. So definitely we need to be laughing more. Also, I don't know if anyone has ever had a situation where they were crying or like sobbing and then suddenly started laughing, because that has happened to me before. I was like, you know, like just and then I just start laughing like, oh my God, you know. It has happened to me definitely many a time throughout my life. So I don't think, it can't just be me. I'm sure that's happened to other people. I've seen it happen before. Okay, also the other quote here is, "Find your unity in your service to all." Okay, I like that one. Exactly. We should look for unity rather than division, because the creepy creatures who want to control us, they're all about creating division. They love that division, right? We don't want that. We don't want division. Okay, this other, again, I have like 4 tea bags here because I like to do that. I like to have stronger teas and mix my teas. Okay, this one says, give thanks for unknown blessings that are already on the way. Okay, I like that one. Yes, that's a good one for staying positive and a positive mindset. Again, no matter how hard it may seem, like as I said in this video, I've been there, right? I've been in dark places. So I understand that there is always something positive no matter what. Okay, the last one here says, there is nothing like you, there was nothing like you, and there shall be nothing like you. Oh, I love that one. Oh, that's so nice. That's just like a nice message from Yogi Tea. So if anyone was wondering, my teas that have these quotes, they are Yogi Tea. That's the brand, Yogi Tea. And they're sold at pretty much every supermarket in the United States, at least as far as I could see. So that is really nice. There is nothing like you, there was nothing like you, and there shall be nothing like you. That's true, because we're all here as individual and unique beings, and we're here just once, at least in this form. We're here once, so we might as well make the most of it by not living in fear, by choosing humor, laughter, fun, and joy as well, because that's a thing. Humor, laughter, and fun lead to joy, and we need to experience joy to enjoy life. See what I did there? Yes, I did. Okay, because the word joy is in enjoy. Yes. So, okay, I've said what I wanted to say today, and thank you for watching. I was gonna say I will see you next time, but actually, like I said in my previous video, you will see me next time.